Welcome to The Explainer. Sometimes the scariest stories aren't the ones with all the monsters and the jump scares. Nope, they're the quiet ones, the ones that just kind of get under your skin. Today, we're going to break down this really cool short animated horror story about a train ride, just to figure out how a super simple setup can create a genuinely chilling experience. And it all builds to this one line. This is it. This is the moment the threat is finally spoken out loud. But the real magic isn't just in this sentence, right? It's in the careful, quiet foundation that was built to make this line land with maximum impact. So let's rewind and see exactly how they pulled it off. Okay, so first things first. Every great horror story needs a solid foundation. And in this case, it's not some creepy old haunted house or a dark forest. It's the simple, everyday feeling of being completely, totally alone. So let's meet our main character, Ted. Take a look at his routine. It is predictable, it's boring, it's completely normal. He's just a student trying to get home, and that's totally on purpose. By making him this ordinary guy, the story makes him relatable. We can easily put ourselves right there in his shoes. Now, this is where the story takes that perfectly normal routine and just gives it this subtle, unnerving little twist. The key detail here isn't just that he takes the train. It's that the train is almost always empty. This one little fact transforms his boring commute into a lonely one, and that immediately creates a sense of vulnerability. He's a target because he's alone. So, the atmosphere is set, we've got our relatable hero in a really isolated place. What's next? Well, the next step is to introduce a disruption, something or someone that just doesn't belong, an element that feels fundamentally wrong and completely shatters that quiet peace. See, the threat doesn't just burst onto the scene all loud and scary. It starts as something much quieter and, honestly, way creepier. It's just another person on the train. But look at that description. She wasn't moving at all. That unnatural stillness, the lack of normal human fidgeting, that's our very first signal that something is deeply, deeply wrong here. And this slide just lays it all out for us, the contrast between the normal and the, abnormal. On one side, you've got Ted. He's our anchor to reality. He's a student, he's in his routine, he's focused on his notebook. But on the other side, you've got Jaina. She appears out of nowhere, her face is hidden, her behavior is just bizarre. She represents a complete break from his world. And when we finally see her, look at these details. They are chosen so specifically to create this feeling of the uncanny. It's when something looks human, but just barely. The pale face, those big black eyes, that weird smile, it all comes together to make her feel like something that's only pretending to be human, and that is often way more unsettling than some obvious monster. So let's keep going and see how this builds, because now that the visual creepiness is set, the story completely shifts gears. The real horror doesn't ramp up through action. It comes from something way more insidious, a simple conversation. Her first line, it is a masterpiece of manipulation. She takes that feeling of isolation that Ted was already experiencing, the very thing the story's atmosphere is built on, and she says it out loud. By doing this, she's not just some weird passenger anymore. She's confirming that this creepy, empty train is something they share. Suddenly, his private unease is a mutual experience. And then, bam, a massive escalation. The threat is no longer just her strange vibe or the empty train car. With this one sentence, she introduces this external danger. Rumors of people going missing. She's basically telling Ted that the safe world he thought he knew outside this train isn't safe at all. And worse, he's the only one who didn't get the memo. This brings us to the final move in her little game. She goes from observation and information to a direct sensory threat. The danger is no longer some vague rumor about other people. It's a sound. It's something that could be happening right here, right now, just on the other side of the glass. The threat just became very, very real. And here it is, the masterstroke. Ted can't hear it. This creates this incredibly powerful split. Right, is Jana just making it up? Is she crazy? Or is Ted just completely unaware of a danger that is closing in on him? That uncertainty, that's where the real psychological tension is born, for him and for us watching. And then, the story just stops. It ends right there. That unanswered question is just left hanging in the air, and this refusal to give us a conclusion is, you could argue, the single most powerful tool in the whole story. So what happened? Seriously, did he get off the train okay? Was Jana the real threat all along? Was there actually something outside? The story never ever tells us, and by refusing to give us an answer, it forces our own imagination to jump in and create the worst possible ending. We become the authors of our own fear. This whole technique is really a cornerstone of what we call psychological horror. It's just like the slide says, it's the art of using our own imagination and uncertainty against us. The story trusts that the monster we cook up in our own heads is always going to be scarier than anything it could ever show us. So let's just recap what we found here. It's a simple, but man, is it an effective 4-part formula for building fear. First, you start with a normal, lonely setting. Then you introduce something that just feels off. Third, you escalate the threat using words, not actions. And finally, you just walk away and let the audience's mind do the rest of the heavy lifting. And all of this leaves us with one final thought. I mean, think about the horror stories that have really stuck with you over the years. Was it the one where they finally defeated the monster? Or was it the one that left you with a chilling, unanswered question? Maybe the most terrifying stories aren't the ones that show us the monster at all, but the ones that make us wonder if it was ever really there to begin with.